Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Mokono Man at YouTube with another Armour review. Today I'll be building the Armour Fast Valentine Mark II. Armour Fast is quite a cheap but very basic line of armour tanks and terrain figure pieces, mostly for 72nd or smaller scale wargaming miniatures. They're known to being very basic, very cheap, but they build very quickly with decent proportions and detail. Can be a bit inaccurate. The probably biggest fault lies in lack of instructions, reference material, colour guide and no decals, but we will get around that. The kit comes in about 20 pieces or less across 2 runners for 2 builds of this model. I'm only going to build one. Model can be built in less than half an hour, putty and glue about an hour, almost snap-esque. Slide mould has been used to retain the shape. The instructions are basic, printed on the box, but clearly label the name of the components. Not too impressed with the copyright Made in England stamp on the rear, sort of almost like an older kit. With a file and wet sanding, can be very easily removed. Assembly, which would be a very quick component of the video, starts at the bottom after I sanded off the text. Nubs were fairly well hidden. Seam lines almost non-existent. Nubs in a fairly appropriate location, easy and soft enough to clean up. The hull just snaps together immediately. Love the proportions and detail. The rear is definitely very interesting. The turret, very well designed, almost all in one piece, just snaps together with a tad of glue. The top hatches were a bit tricky to place in just perfectly and neatly. The fiddly bits were glued on last, and we've just got this whole thing all in one piece all together, and I have to admit it looks very flash, very detailed, very nice for just a very quick and basic wargaming kit. All built for what it is. I am very happy with this finished product. The majority of the colour schemes, be it camouflages or a straight yellow desert scheme, is fairly easy to do. Can be done in pieces or all together. I plan to do hand painting, so just going to leave as is for the painting process. Not too happy with just a straight yellow scheme. I did a little research online and saw various variant colour schemes captured by different countries, different climates, different camo schemes, and came across one picture where it was all yellow and practically had a bucket of green paint dumped on top of it to be prepared for the European theatre of war. So I decided to go with that, which isn't any of these on the list, but this little decal colour scheme did come across my research. Just a simple Google search looking in the image section is enough to find what models other people built, as well as actual real pictures, colour pictures and illustrations like so. Like all of my tanks of late, the entire piece was primed using Gaia Note Oxidization Red Surfacer Primer, followed by Tamir brand of acrylic colours through the airbrush, sprayed just a base coat of sand yellow or an alternative desert colour. The green was just a standard NATO green, but airbrushed in a almost stippling manner. I very lightly at the very top just did these little squiggly circles very lightly, spreading out to the edges and getting thicker and stronger by the inside, sort of a gradient effect going from sand to hard green at the very top. Pulled back and did a little further dusting on top and a little bit of a side to make it look like it has been partially but not fully painted, almost like they were going for a desert yellow and to a green, and they ran out of green paint on the field, so it was sort of a case of near enough is good enough, we're in the middle of a bloody war. The wheels, machine guns, tyre tracks, any sort of appropriate detail was hand painted with a fine paintbrush and the same Tamiya acrylic colours, followed by a tad of weathering of dusting on some earthy and sandy colours over all the wheel wells and tyre tracks, just to blend it in a bit more with the model. I've also worked on and currently working on some Cruisers and Crusaders by S model, which come with a heap of photo etched parts and decals. Being very generous with decal schemes existing or non-existent, I was able to pilfer enough decals to do this tank up in a non-existent scheme. And here is my finished piece. I dusted on a tiny bit more earthy and brownish colours via airbrush over the decals, just to blend them in and weather them a bit further. Everything was given a sludge wash with black ink from Tamiya Panel Line accent colour, topped off by a few layers of Tamiya clear flat varnish. I've got a new method of applying matte varnishes now without getting the white streaky marks. That will be released soonish in a tutorial. Overall, the colour scheme is not accurate. I'm actually starting to get a bit bored with researching and doing proven colour schemes. I like to look at what sort of been suggested or could have been done on the field in stories and rumours, and try to adapt them using my own imagination and guessing what could have been. Talking to some modelers that kind of enjoy my models on Facebook but are skeptical on the schemes, they actually see that things like post-war paper panzers, concept tanks, concept colour schemes, what if a country stole and experimented with a tank and coloured it in their own countries, is a very fascinating topic. And with so many weapons being destroyed and pilfered for materials or metals and being melted down with very little surviving photos and relics, we can't for sure know every single scheme that's existed out there, as well as what people have done on the field. So I think that's sort of a fun sort of thing of a pseudo science fiction wartime historical models, and just, you know, going at a non-historical route could be fun. Following some other modelers that do very similar things, and having an interest in early Russian Chinese tanks that virtually have no records of what colours, appearances and whatnot they've had, I'd like to explore these fantasy colour schemes more and head them out more, as well as historical schemes. So expect some country colour scheme mix-ups and some other interesting things in the future, just in the name of fun with these basic and easy tanks. In the way, going back to Armour Fast, I think this is a great model. If you want to jazz it up a bit more and play with the suspension and a couple of more details, maybe some stowage, put it on a diorama, I think these models would be ideal for a straight build or even a battle damaged destroyed build. Absolutely highly recommended, and I think they're worth a play with. If you're a wargamer, absolutely choice on and how fast to build and paint. All in all, thank you very much for watching, and as always, until next time, more Armour, Gundam, tutorial reviews and other videos of interest related to the hobby will be regularly posted here. Catch you guys next time.